This is a brief introduction about the Public Rights to Information Act in Sweden, also called offentlighetsprincipen. Yesterday you went out in the city to ask people what they thought about this right and what they can expect when they try to take information out from an authority, and how this right is threatened. Now I will explain how you will find the law information about this right. We have a site in Sweden called lagen.nu that is basically the law.nu, and this is the Swedish law put on the internet. It's a private organization that has put the Swedish law on the internet, consisting of lawyers and other officials. And so far I have found that this site is very easy to use and correct when it comes to law paragraphs. And we're interested in only one law, this from our basic founding laws, our constitution, and that is the Public Rights to Information Act. So if you go to lagen.nu and you scroll down to a little bit more and a little bit more, you will come to allmän förvaltningsrätt. That is like a common public official authority, everything that has to do with authorities and how they are governed from allmän förvaltningsrätt. So if you press offentlighets, sekretesslagen, that is like the law from public law and what's secret, classified. So everything is that's both public and classified in authorities is described in this law. So if you click here, this is the law. So it's very hard for you from Spain to see this law, but you here in Sweden, we work with laws like this. But I will try to explain it in English, how it is constituted. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sections of this law. The first section, like in any law, you have introduction when it comes to common what the law regulates or not. The first section is always about definitions and what the law regulates. The second section is about authorities and how they deal with public acts. That's an allmän handling. The third section is about how they deal with classifications, as when acts are classified, secrecy and all of that. The fourth section is when it's secrecy and classified to protect public interests. And the fifth, certain legal matters when it comes to certain authorities and governmental branches and how they govern, because as you all can know, in Sweden we have SÄPO, for instance. That's like the Swedish FBI, SÄPO. They have certain rules, like the CIA, and that's all because of not only because of the law, the war on terror, but also before you have certain rules and how they can classify stuff in comparison with Sundsvalls kommun, for instance. So if you look at the first section, it says that this law is about is a part of the 4 basic laws that we have in Sweden. How the government is run, regeringsformen, the freedom of writing, that you're allowed to write everything you want, the freedom of speech, and also it's not in this law, but we also have a 4th one that's called how our monarchy is supposed to be inherited and in which lines and through which way. Now we have changed that law because we have a Queen Victoria, so she will be in power when the current, no, we have a princess, sorry, not a queen. We have a Princess Victoria. She will be in power, and not Prince Daniel, when the king and the queen dies. And that's a change in the law for the monarchy, 2010. So you see, it's all about how you define the law, and it says also how common decision on how an authority should deal with public acts, and how you should. It's a law that says that the public have a right to search for it, and how it should made easy for you people and me to search for public acts. It should easy also when it comes to registration and how that's being done, and also how our authority, what's expected of them when it comes to handing out public acts in the 6th chapter. So it's only an introduction to the law. And it says who, when secrecy, in what matters does secrecy occur? Other laws that can regulate this law, if this law overrides other laws. If you, what kind of circumstances do you have the right to break secrecy, classified information? Secrecy in condition in relationship to the individual itself. If I want to get information about myself, can I get all the information about myself? There are certain exceptions. And the right to make information public without the risk of losing his or her own job in authority. As we said yesterday, that's a big right, that public officials in Sweden can talk about what's happening in the authorities without the risk of losing their own profession, their own work. And this is the... I will not keep this lesson, this lecture, for a long time, because there's a lot of people in here. It's warm, and you will work with your results yesterday. But it's important to talk about what's classified, the secrecy in this law. And this is the main things. You have information that is classified is to do with protecting the kingdom and the kingdom's relationship with other states in the world. So you can't hand out information that would be a threat to the kingdom. I mean, military information, logistics information, how certain officials and their profession. So to protect from espionage, to protect from sabotage, to protect from an invasion. Because even though Sweden hasn't been invaded over 200 years, there's always been a risk throughout history. So we have to protect the information so another country can't get the information from us. That's classified information, you can't get that. And also, which a lot of people don't think about, our monetary policy, economics. We classify information from our central bank and how they govern our currency. Why do you think that is classified information on how we govern our currency in our central bank? You know, we have the European Central Bank, but we have the Swedish Central Bank. Why is it that we have that as secret information? What do you think? Currency, I don't know, in Spain you have euro, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Euro, and you get 9 or 10 Swedish kronor from 1 euro. If other countries, now the European Central Bank, they don't have any interest of doing negative speculation against the kroner, but other countries may have an interest of having a negative speculation on the kroner. So if they know interest rate decision and stuff, they can manipulate the money demand and the money supply to undermine our currency. So our currency will be less valuable in the world. So that's why it's classified. For instance, now we have economic sanctions against Russia. The world will put economic sanctions because they have annexed and taken over Crimea Peninsula. But with that, they have also secret information from their central bank, just so that we can't impose negative speculation against the ruble. So that's why it's important, because different countries can create economic warfare from undermining a currency. It's also classified authorities when they have their inspections and how they go about their inspections, and certain results from their inspections are classified information. And also things that are classified to protect from war, from terror, and also to protect sensitive information from transportation and stuff, so that you can't do things against trains or buses or stuff like that, certain things. And the common economic interest is also one of those points. And the last but not least, it's about animals and species, to protect the biological diversity. We had a case actually here in Härnösand where a person collected eggs from endangered species. Have you heard about that? No? Someone heard about that? Yeah. And that's up in the courts now. It's very unusual case where someone collected eggs from endangered species. So, and that would be a serious crime because the biodiversity is very important. So that's why you can't get information about where the species are, the endangered species, because you have small populations. A lot of, you know, in Sweden we have a big debate about the wolf. Yes?
What does species do?
Ja, det är arter.
Oh, okay.
Good. That's good that you asked the question. We have a big discussion in Swedish about the wolf, you know. The wolf. About the wolf's whereabouts and the numbers of the wolf pack. We have, I think we have like 200, 300, 400 wolves in Sweden. It's classified information where the wolf are, where they have their dens and stuff, because the scientist knows where the wolves are. But if the hunters are not allowed to know where the wolves are, and that's a secrecy, because otherwise there are certain hunters that will go out and kill the wolf illegally. But in Sweden we have strong penalties from killing the wolf. Almost sometimes there's stronger penalties from killing the wolf than killing your own spouse. But that's another discussion all completely. So yeah, we also have secrecy when it comes to certain information about where people lives, and also what kind of health care they receive and stuff like that. I will do an end conclusion here before you can discuss your results, and that is, we have a site here in Sweden called Lexbase, a short time. Lexbase. Do anyone remember? I think it was only 3 days it was open. Do you remember anyone in this class what that site was all about? If I can, Ja.
Det är väl när man ser brottsregister. Man kan se att de står där, man kan se vad de har gjort. Visst är det så?
Ja. You can, very good Natalie. You can search for what crimes an individual has committed. That was the case for 3 days. You can still get this information because you can call every Swedish court in Sweden and ask, like, okay, Natalie, for instance, have not really been, no, I just took an example, or you can call, like, for me, Donnie, like, that teacher is kind of strange, isn't he? I mean, is Illinois some strange person and stuff like that, and he can call every Swedish court in Sweden and ask, has he committed a crime? And Sundsvall says, no, not in Sundsvall. Östersund you can call, no, not in Östersund. Sveg you can call, yeah, when he was 18 years old, he did some battery and assault when he was drunk and stuff. No, I haven't done that. But so it is possible to get that information. But this site, the only thing you had to do was to search the name. And then you'll find out all the crimes that person has committed. It was open only 3 days and then it was closed. Why do you think it was closed?